This is Robert Harper with Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division, bringing you the Merchandiser Minute for Friday, July the 12th, 2019, at the end of a very exciting week where we got a lot of information from the USDA. A few of the eye catchers this week that definitely have an impact on the futures part of your cash price, some outside influences. We just saw some real fireworks in many of the equities markets, not only here domestically but around the world. We had the Dow this week close over 27,000, and we've seen a solid action this week in the S&P 500 above 3,000. We heard a lot this week about new talks with China and with the United States in reference to this trade war we've been in for over a year. Most media outlets are reporting that the talks are productive but contentious, as each side is trying to get the concessions that they would like to have. So look forward next week to hopefully more progress and more news about those over-the-phone talks. We saw Jerome Powell this week, chair of the Federal Open Market Committee, July the 10th, give some really good remarks. Many economists and right down to us here as agriculture producers were watching that meeting and looking to see if they are going to lower the benchmark interest rate next month. So keep your eye on that story. That's very important to y'all's businesses. We had a big week in crude oil futures this week. We know we had some more activity with some vessels in the Middle East, and that got crude oil back up above $60 a barrel. And another interesting story, this one directly from the Chinese government, that June soybean imports, the numbers fell 25% from last year. So again, just more recognition about African swine fever and the demand destruction in China for soy products because of it. What about USDA this week? Export inspections on Monday. Corn and wheat were above expected. Beans were below. Well, we got the export sales report from USDA yesterday. We saw above expectation sales for corn, which that's really good. We know we've been lagging in that area some. Beans were below expectation, and wheat kind of fell into what the trade was looking for. Crop progress on Monday from USDA. We saw corn rated 57% good to excellent. Last year we were at 75% good to excellent. And on soybeans, we saw a 53% good to excellent rating. Last year, we were at 71%. So those numbers are definitely very price supportive. When we look at the big news this week from USDA, we got a crop production report, supply and demand report, as well as the World Board, the WASDE. Corn yield expected was 165 bushels. USDA came in at 166. Your bean yield, the expected yield, projected yield for this year's crop, soybean in the United States, was 48.6 bushels per acre. The USDA came out with their July number this week at 48.5. So those numbers were both within expectation. One of the interesting things this week, we saw a drop in corn exports in the WASDE report, which raised the carryout bushels for corn, not only for this marketing year, but for next marketing year. It took those carryout numbers above 2 billion bushels, right at it, just above. And that definitely could have been negative to price, but the speculators didn't trade it in a negative fashion. It kind of leaves all of us asking, do they believe the numbers? Are they waiting till next month in August when we get revised acres? We don't know, but we're just glad this report this week was positive to price. It was also positive for wheat. We saw the World Board take some production away from Russia and Ukraine, wheat production, and we had, I think, a 16-cent gain yesterday in nearby Chicago wheat futures. So keep your eye on that Russian wheat situation. Next week, we're going to be looking for the crop progress report at 4 o'clock on Monday. Give us a call if we can help you. This is Robert at Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division.